FlossTube. How's everyone doing? My name is Shelly. Welcome to my channel, Oh My Ada. It is a channel all about cross stitch, whether it be my works in progress, whether it be my haul or my future plans. I talk a little bit about everything, and sometimes I include something about my life. So today is February 2nd, 2020. It is Super Bowl Sunday, but if you looked at the date written out numerically, today is also a palindrome. I took Friday off work. I had lost my voice on Thursday. I was able to prep all my students, and the next day they had a sub. I stayed home, I rested up, and it was wonderful. I got very little stitching done. I cleaned the living room, moved my furniture around, all of that. And then yesterday I was able to stitch. Today I haven't stitched. Well, I stitched a very little bit. And once I'm done with the FlossTube video, I'm going to go stitch, I believe, on my coffee break. And you'll see that today. I do film my videos in small segments, a couple minutes. Sometimes if I get on a roll and I feel really comfortable, I can go 10 minutes at a time. I think my mount and dismount are the worst because by then I've run out of things to say and I feel like I'm just rambling. So I would like to talk to you about my stitch meetups in San Jose, California. And I don't know of any, so if you're from the Bay Area and you know of meetups, I would love for you to leave a comment. And what I did, because I didn't really see any, is I decided to start my own. My second job, I am in charge of membership engagement, which means finding activities for the people in the union to do. Sometimes it costs money, sometimes it's free. It just depends on what I've thought up because there are 1,200 members and right now I don't have a committee. I think we could get much more done and get a lot more people involved if there were more members helping me. But right now I'm on my own, so I thought, well, why not have a cross-stitch day where people can come learn how to cross-stitch if that's something they were interested in. And in November, I'm happy to say about 10 people showed up, between 8 and 10 people. It was really fun. They were all anxious. They all wanted to know what to do. And if you've ever been around a group of teachers, sometimes we are worse than the students. And so we're off on our own and then we come back or we're working ahead and then we get stuck. Hysterical, really. We lost some needles. Luckily I had a couple extra, but they were petite. And it was a really good turnout. What I did was I went to Ink Circles and they have a lot of geometric patterns that are free. And then I also found a robin or a cardinal. It's a winter bird. I think that's cardinal. And it was in a wreath. And that was a free pattern too. I don't remember where I got it. Surprisingly, a lot of people wanted to do the bird, which was okay with me because, hey, stitch what you want to stitch. And I purchased some Ada from Michael's and I got it 40% off. And I took in all my old floss. I have a ton of floss from the 80s, from projects I used to stitch back then, but I'm not really comfortable using them now. I know they're still good, and I told the ladies that. The reason I'm uncomfortable is because if I start a project and I run out, I really don't know how the color has changed over time. So personally, I prefer to purchase the floss for each project that I'm working on currently. And that's working because then, even though the patterns I gave them have different colors, I told them that's only a guide. And I said, choose 4 colors that you love. And then I talked about how they could change the pattern and the key so that they would stay focused. And then it was about November 25th, around there, because I'd asked if they wanted to get together again. And I said we could do this in another month. But what I realized is we would have been gone on our Christmas break. So we did set up a second stitch day at a Panera, and two other ladies showed up, and we stitched for 2 hours, and we had dinner, and we talked, and I really enjoyed that. And since the November meetup and lesson, I'd had several people ask if I would do another one. So I was telling the ladies, yeah, I'm going to do another one at the end of January, which was last week. And the two ladies that were there really wanted to show up. And then a third lady that couldn't make it to Panera came to the lesson because they just wanted to stitch. And then I hooked a lady, a first timer, and she learned, and she was so fearful. And as soon as I got her with the first or second X, she soared. And I think that's one of the pleasures about cross stitch, is that just about anyone that wants to do it can learn how, and they can do it well. One thing that the ladies did decide is that they do want hoops, because I had told them, don't worry about hoops. You know, if you want one, you can bring one. And so I had them all stitching in hand. And then two people wanted to try the hoops out, and they're like, why didn't you give us these 2 hours ago? So they really liked the hoops, which I have a feeling they'll also like the Q snaps. So I had all the cross stitch stuff out in my classroom, and the students asked what it was and what I was doing with it. And I showed them my Instagram page, and they were impressed, or they were pretending to be impressed. So I told them if it was something they were interested in, I would, after school, show them how to cross stitch. And so I'm going to do that on Thursday of next week. And then I have all the dates written down, and I'm going to look over to my left a little bit. And so on February 25th, we have our second, I'm going to call it the second meetup, and it's at Antipasto's Deli in San Jose. So if you're in the San Jose area or the Bay Area and you want some stitch friends, come on down. It's a deli on McKee and White Road, and we love it. There's a little side eatery off the main building, and we're going to go in there and just stitch for a couple hours from 4 to 6. And they have amazing food. So we'll also have dinner, and then we'll have an early night. So those are my plans, and those are my successes. And I really like being able to talk to people about cross stitch. I told you in my last video, I thought it was hysterical that people were calling long dog samplers long dong samplers. And what I discovered since my last video is I heard 2 more people do this. We're not intending to do it, but it makes me feel better about myself to hear other people do the same thing. I really like Stitching Social. There are 2 sisters in Canada, and if you get a chance, I would recommend you looking at them. And then I don't think the other cross stitcher needs an introduction. Her FlossTube channel, I started a couple weeks before her, I believe, but her cross stitch channel has just taken off. And that's Ellen Reed of Maximum Cross Stitch Power Hour. And I heard her do the same thing with long dog samplers. And so I think it's cute. And if you've never noticed, you know, maybe now that I've brought it up, maybe now you'll notice it. Let's get into my whips. And I think I'm going to look at my whips this time through the 24 Hours of Cross Stitch Challenge by Jen Lee. I love the idea of stitching for 24 hours, but I still haven't been able to complete it. I went crazy Friday night. I went crazy Saturday, And then Sunday, I just petered out. I still stitched, but I only got around 16 hours stitching 3 days. And I don't know that I'll ever get 24 hours. I am team sleep, sometimes team no bra, but um, I don't know that physically I can do more hours, but I'm much more willing to try. I had a wish list or a list to work on. I made this at work when I wanted to be stitching, but I was at home. I was at work and couldn't stitch. So I looked at what I had, and let me go through that with you. So 24 hours of cross stitch started on January 25th. And don't ask me what happened, but I really thought I had another week. And so my to-do list was based on stitching another week and then starting the 24 hours. That didn't work too well. So my first project, nope, the first project I worked on when I got home on Friday from work, I cooked dinner. I made stuffed bell peppers, but my body doesn't digest fiber. So I can't eat a lot of bell pepper. And so what I do is I typically make a casserole, a one pot meal with hamburger, ground beef and rice and tomato sauce and all of that. And then what I do is I dice the bell pepper as small as I can, and at least I get some of the bell pepper flavor in that. So I sat down to stitch at 8:30, and this is what I got. I did not do this whole thing, but what I did do is up here in the corner where it says coffee, I was able to finish that square. And not only did I finish it, I was able to backstitch everything. So I'm really happy with the way it turned out. I did make the ease different than what it said on the chart. That was accidental. But when I noticed it, I was still happy with the way it turned out. So the pattern has you finish it like this and then backstitch. If you've watched my channel before, you know that I've decided to do this work based on the original artwork. And so this is my first finish because I'll count this full square as a finish. And right now, tonight, I want to work on this one. It took me a while. I had to unstitch the white area where I'm running my fingers because I was off. But I figured that out. And now I'm going to finish the Irish coffee. I have one more down here, finished. And all it needs is fill in and backstitch. But I'm doing the backstitch, of course, last, of course. And when I'm exhausted and I get home and I'm tired, that's when I'll fill these in with the background color. And my goal is to finish one per month with the background color and the back stitches. And I really feel that I would be able to accomplish that. This is my birthday Sal. It is Coffee Break by Design Works. You can get the entire kit on Amazon for under 20 bucks. And if you're interested in stitching it with me and my other stitcher, Mary, you can just hashtag Java365Sal, and you can join us because it's super independent. Mary is stitching each one as she goes, and she's not doing the background color. And I also think she's halfway done, and I would be halfway done too if I wasn't doing the full coverage effect. But for me, I'm trying to get the squares to look like the original artwork. So I'm okay spending extra time to make it look like that, especially when I get home from a really tiring day. If I've worked my teaching job and my second job, and I can just sit down, watch FlossTube, and I can mindlessly stitch the background colors because everything else in the square is done. So that was my first goal. Now, when I wrote the goals on my card, I had said I would finish Irish coffee. But remember, I was a week off, so I thought I would have had a week more to work on it. That didn't work. And whatever, I'm okay with that. I'm a legend in my own mind. I think I can do much more than I really can. The second work that I pulled out, that I had put away, is Pirates Love Christmas by Sue Hillis Designs. I have the entire skull and hat complete. And my goal for the 24 hours of cross stitch was to back stitch the face and hat, and then to stitch the candy canes and back stitch the candy canes. All right. So this is what I have. I'm doing this 1/1 on 28 count Mystic. Picture this plus. I actually love it. I didn't think I liked it, but then I took a picture of it to post, and I saw the picture and I'm like, well, dang, that looks a lot better than I thought it did. I do have a small frame that I found on clearance. It was $1.50. And because I'm working 28 count, 1/1, this is going to be super tiny and it will fit in this frame. I have someone that I'm going to give this to. There is a Secret Santa every year. Well, there was a Secret Santa for 2 years at my work. And when I mentioned that I was creating this for my new partner, the person that had me last year was doing this, and he really, really wanted it. And so we didn't have a Secret Santa this year, so I've decided to go ahead and finish it and give it to him since he showed interest in it. And then I'll make myself one. I've also purchased the same one where it says "Women who behave rarely make history," and I'll be stitching that for myself and for some other friends at work. And you know that I'm a pirate. That's our school mascot. So I really love these patterns. All right. So what else? I'm going to read, so I'm not looking at you for this moment. My goals, I finished the goal to do the pirate's head and the candy canes. And I finished my goal for not Irish coffee, but regular coffee. You saw my list of goals, right? And I only made 2 goals. But there's another way to think of that. Yay, I made 2 goals. Because I don't think I would have pulled Pirates Love Christmas out without writing it down. So I'm really actually happy about that. The next WIP works in progress that I'd like to share with you is Leap Year Sal, hashtag Leap Year Sal. And I've understood that the group is going to start a new project every 29th of the month. Because it's leap year, that means every month has 29 days. So I was thinking about the patterns that I had and what I wanted to work on. And there is a Sal that's finishing up. I purchased the pattern, $5, totally worth it. I do love how the projects that people are posting. Look. And what this is the Enlightenment Sal by Tempting Tangles. And I'm using the call for threads, which are silks, but I decided to do this on 28 count Lugana. This is, I'm going to move up. This is the first time I've ever stitched 1/2. I don't know, and it's also the first time I've used silk. So I'm not sure if I dislike this because I'm using one silk or if I'm doing it 1/2. I'm not sure. I have a really tiny start. The reason I chose this is it has the rust areas in it. And to me, it's just really nice. But I'm not sure if I should go back and do it 1/1 or 2/1. I think I'm going to try it 1/1 because I like the fuller squares. I like the fuller look. So I know if you're watching, maybe you have some advice. I don't think it's the fabric, but you know, it could be. Again, it's my first time using silk, and it's my first time stitching 1/2. So I have to think about this one. I'm not discouraged by it, actually. I like it, but I think I want it a little bit thicker. And I have plenty of room to do the entire 1/2, but I can also do 1/1 or 2/1. And honestly, I love stitching 2/1. I don't mind it. And so I think that just might be my thing. And next, I joined another Sal, and it's a Family Quaker Sal by Linens and Threads. And this is what I finished so far. Let's see. And I'm really enjoying stitching it. It is 1/1 on 32 count, but my gosh, it is so stunning. It is a free Sal. It's on the Linens and Threads website, and you go under Mystery Sal 2020, and that's how you download the pattern on the last day of the month. So Brendan, the person doing this, he's actually in Australia, and so we get it a day earlier than they do, and that's nice. So I've started, well, let me show you one more time. If I can get it right. Yes, everything above my finger, all of that was the original Sal for January. So what I'm covering up is the February section, and I even love the floss that I'm using. So it's fun. It is a friends and family Quaker. My family doesn't support me in cross stitch. They think it's a waste of my time, whatever. So I have an adopted family. We've been best friends since 6th grade, over 30 years. And so her children will take care of me when I'm old and feeble, and we'll live together in a nursing home or wherever they stick us. And so I'm going to put all of their initials in it. instead of my birth family, because for me that means more to me that way. Right. I had a New Year's start, and this is Joyful Teddy. And if you remember, I won that from Dina Half Stitch Cross Stitch for her 4,000 or 4,500 subscribers. So I felt really lucky winning this. I did find the material, and this is the first time I've cut a chunk of material out. And I measured it twice, cut it, and I stitched part of Eloise's jacket. You can go back to FlossTubes to see why I named the bear Eloise, but I was really happy with this. And then I realized I wasn't going to have a lot of margin if I kept going. So I'm starting this over. Is that still a New Year's start since I'm starting it over? Well, I'm going to say it's my New Year's start. I'm not going to frog all this. I thought about it, but my stitches are too tight that it's a little bit difficult. I did use a seam ripper and that wasn't working, but I do have plans to use the part of the material that isn't stitched on. And so as soon as I stitch that and make it an FFO, I will share that with you. The last thing is haul. And if you're part of Crazy Annie's Picture This Plus Fabric of the Month, you have hopefully received yours for January. I chose the Ada, and I got a fat quarter. And this month is Heartland. And the reason the reason I joined is because I really love Picture This Plus. So as long as I know the material, which I do, I can build up my colors. I have a few more items to share with you. One is that I joined Stephanie's Stitch from Stash. I set my budget at $25. I thought that was reasonable, seeing as before that I was spending maybe $100 every time I went shopping online because I didn't need to budget. Well, even though this is self-motivated and I put myself on a budget, I found that it's really helpful because what I'm doing is when I look at patterns, I ask myself, is this worth your one purchase? I did make one purchase in January, and it was the heartstring sampler. No, it was the Hands Across the Sea Australian sampler, and the money would go to help in Australia. And I bought that. And the idea is, Stephanie said we don't have to count that money because it's a donation. I decided that I'm going to count that in my $25 because was it worth it to me to spend? And I thought, yes. And then I purchased a book online for $8. And the book has 200 different types of stitches that is used in embroidery. And I know that'll come in handy. So both of those purchases are under $25, and I'm not claiming any finishes yet, although I could claim the coffee square and coffee break. I'm okay. Now, honestly, I'm not actually inputting what I have with Stephanie, so I'm participating, but I don't need to win a prize to know that I fulfilled what I wanted to. And I'm okay with that. I'm going to leave you with two more items I wanted to talk about. One is that I finally have a unicorn chart that I really, really want. I think everyone needs a unicorn chart, and some of you may have multiple ones. And my unicorn chart is a dimensions kit. I don't need it as a kit. I would be more than happy just to have the pattern or borrow the pattern, but um, it's okay. It's bearing gifts. And what I'll do is I'll try to put a picture over here if you haven't seen it. And it's Santa Claus with blue gloves holding a whole bunch of toy bears. And there's some beautiful poinsettias in it. I've been looking for patterns with poinsettias. Now, I know some of you have seen it on Etsy. And I have seen the pattern on Etsy as a digital download, and it's also on AliExpress. But from what I understand, neither of them are copyrighted, and so they're infringing on copyright law. And I'm not going to purchase patterns in those ways. Now, if I'm mistaken with the pattern on Etsy, will you please write a comment below and let me know? I wouldn't want to accuse someone of selling a pattern illegally. I just don't think they have permission to sell it. And so that's why I don't want to buy it from Etsy. I want to get the actual chart to stitch. Now, having said that, I do own two patterns that I bought from AliExpress. I'm not working on them right now. When I purchased them, I didn't realize, maybe I knew, but I wasn't even thinking that they were infringing on copyright law. Now, I'm going to stitch them anyway. But when I stitch them, I will give credit to the company that designed it, not to AliExpress, because we should be paying for our patterns. Right. My plans, I really want to get back to my Haid. I haven't stitched my Haid since November, the end of November, and I got quite a bit done, or I got one diagonal done. I need to get back to that because I have a lot of tiny patterns that I'm working on. I could finish My Baby It's Cold Outside. I could finish Pirates Love Christmas. I will finish the February Stitch Along from Linens and Threads. I would like to finish Entanglement, Enlightenment from Tangled Threads. Tempting Tangles. It's English. I should be able to say that. I don't have any purchases in mind, but that being said, I have a little bit over $25 for my February budget, and if something comes along that I have to have, or you have bearing gifts that you'd like to sell me or even loan me, I would send it back. I would pay for that one, and just let me know. You know, why not have a unicorn, and why not ask for it? Because one never knows that someone's looking for it unless they say something. I do have a new hashtag I'm thinking about using, but I know not a lot of you are following me. So I'm going to hang on to the hashtag for a while, but it's actually a rather clever one that I'm surprised nobody's using. With that being said, I hope you have a wonderful month stitching in February, and I will get back to you when I have something more to add. Have a wonderful time stitching, and thank you for stopping by to my channel, Oh My Ada. I hope to see you next time when I film my next FlossTube video.